hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. This is Sistas, y'all. Okay, this is Sistas. Was y'all watching this mess, honey, that I just finished watching? This is Sistas Inside and Out. Okay, season 4, episode 20. Get on in here, get on in here, get on in here, get comfortable, and let's get right into it. Let's not even waste no time. All right. A hot damn mess. All right. So we basically start out this episode continuing where we left off, where Zach knows that this is Tony. You know what I'm saying? She's pretty much like, you know who I am now, right? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, okay, well, we need to talk. And he's like, well, I can't talk tonight. You know, first he was trying to be like, what about? And she was like, I know you don't want to have this conversation over the phone. And he's like, yeah, no. And she was like, yeah, I didn't think so. So she's like, I need to see you as soon as possible. And he just basically kept saying he can't do it right now. And so she was like, when? And he wasn't really being, you know, too direct about that. He just kept being like, I don't know, but I know I can't do it tonight. And so she was like, well, I'm not going to be here for that long. You know what I'm saying? I mainly came here to speak to you. You know, that's my purpose for being here. So I would suggest that you don't just have me waiting too long. And I don't know why he didn't just say, well, can we meet up tomorrow or something like that? But of course, he just looked like, damn, you know, like, why the heck she got to come and now I got to try to meet up with her, you know? And so basically, you know, he just says copy, and he's trying to get off the phone because we have Miss Fatima come back, and she let him know that she got all her things, and, you know, she like, you happy that I'm back now and stuff like that. But of course, she picks up immediately that something is wrong with him. You know, he keep trying to say he okay, but it's damn obvious that he's not. So she's like, we not going to start, off like this or whatever. You need to tell me what's happening. You know, this is going to be bad if this is the way that we're going to be. And he's saying, you know, nah, it's good. And then she asked him if it was Karen, and he was like, no, it's not Karen. So she was like, come on now. I'm not going to play this game where I got to like pull it out of you. And he was like, you don't have to pull nothing out of me. He was just saying to give him some time, let him process it a little bit. And then he would go ahead and talk to her about it later. And so she was like, so something is bothering you and you don't want to talk about it. And he basically was like, you know, not right this minute. And she was like, we need to talk. And he just was like, please. And so she's like, okay, this, you know, like I said, this is bad. And he's telling her, no, it's not bad. It's not bad. He was like, you know, just give me a minute, you know, pretty much still saying the same thing. So she was like, okay, well, I'm going to go take a bath. And he was like, you know, she said, whenever you're ready to talk, then I guess we will. And so basically he was letting her know, like, Fatima is not like that. And she was like, well, you're already shutting me out. And he was like, I'm not shutting you out, you know, I just need some time. And so at this point, you know, she go ahead and get up to start picking up her bag and stuff to go ahead and said that she'll wait. And he was like, thank you. But then, you know, he looking at her and he's like, now you're mad. So, you know, at the end of the day, he could tell when she's mad and she could tell when he's mad. And, you know, she's saying, I'm not mad. You know, he's like, don't do that or whatever. And he was like, I could tell that you mad. And she's like, nah, I'm good. You know, you said you don't want to talk about it now. I'll wait. So she go ahead to go upstairs to take her bath. So then we get, you know, Miss Danni sitting in the restaurant with Cop Guy, right? They already there. Sabrina and her Bayo, whatever, ain't get there yet. And so at this point, you know, she's basically saying, like, make a small talk, you know, this is a nice place. And he's saying how he's this regular guy. And, you know, she's trying to ask him about himself. And he's saying army, military, you know, then police academy or whatever have you. And he was like telling her to tell him about her. And so Danni, to me, was just being really silly in certain parts. You know, she started out saying she was from Detroit. And she basically was like, you know, she went to college or whatever the case may be and been working at the airport ever since. You know, she got these bills to pay. She got, loans or whatever the case may be, you know. And so she also was saying that she's now using the degree that she had. And she was like, she's a wanderer or whatever the case may be. You know, she's pretty much been wandering aimlessly through life. And so she was like, you know, she just goes pretty much wherever it takes her. And to be honest, between the rent and the bills and the student loans or whatever the case may be, she just, you know, don't have any interest or time for anything that really matters outside of, you know, taking care of her business. And she was like, she definitely need her masters and able to be able to do what she would want to do. And so he was like, okay, I see. So she was like, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. So then, you know, they come with their drinks or whatever the case may be, and they telling them thank you for that. And, you know, she basically starts to ask him, like, well, what's your favorite music? And he was saying he like old school. But then when she was asking him what artists he like, he was saying what, Drake, Meek Mill, and Jay-Z. And she was like, well, that's not really old school or whatever. And he started laughing. And then he asked her what kind she like, and she was like, it depends on her mood. She like a little bit of everything. And he was like, okay. He was like, I can see where you coming from with that. I'm kind of similar myself too, saying that in the mornings he liked to listen to like old school hip hop while he getting ready. And so she was like, oh, gangster rap. She was like, I see. So she was like, you want to listen to gangster rap so that you can have an idea of how to catch them. If you think like them, then you know how to, you know, catch them. She's like gangster rap and cop or whatever. So he was just laughing, and he was like, yeah, you get it or whatever. So she talking about some random question, just curious, do you like cows? And it's like, like Danni, I don't know, something she just was being silly with. And he was, you know, are you on the first name basis with her? Of course, talking about Preston. And so he's like, is this a trick question? And she was like, no, I just wanted to be sure. Then she started talking about some, oh, well, you know that, you know, you like my hair. And then he's like, yeah, it looks nice. Oh, well, you know, it's not my hair. This is a wig that I have sewn in. And he's like, okay, yeah, I pretty much figured that or whatever the case may be. So it was just like, are you purposely trying to sabotage this? I'm confused. What is going on here? You know, and he initially says, what's going on? And she was like, well, nothing. She basically tells him that she has a little PTSD when it comes to dating. That's all. So he was like, no, do you want to share? You want to talk about it? She was like, well, a few more drinks, I'll probably be telling you more than you want to hear. And he was like, well, then let's get it in. Basically calling over the waiter. It seemed like they was really having somewhat a good vibe. At least he was trying on his end. And then she was telling him she see that he don't have the wedding ring on. And she was like, yeah. He said, yeah, because I'm not married. She was like, but I don't trust it. And he was like, I swear I'm not married. He's like, you don't trust it? And she's like, no. And she was like, never. And then he was like, nope, never. And she was like, well, why not? And he was like, well, I've been waiting for the right girl. So then he got a little cheesy because he started standing up, giving a damn toast, talking about, well, here's to the right girl. And, you know, Danni being Danni, she going to talk about, I hope you find her. And he was like, no, I think I already did. And she was telling him, don't embarrass me. So, you know, he sat down and they was basically laughing about that. Child, then we got Maurice and Q. And to be honest, it wasn't nothing important about that. I'll just be so mad when they even add the nonsense in here, okay? Maurice came home. Q was trying to play cute and trying to act like, you know, he want to get in the tub with him and all this other nonsense. And Maurice was essentially just like, go ahead and make my food and that's that, okay? But he talking about, oh, with your fine self or whatever, you know, hurry up and fix me my plate. That was basically what was going on with them. Wasn't nothing important. So we finally basically had Sabrina and Bayo show up to, no, I'm sorry, before they came, we had Gary and Aaron, right? And so Gary is putting Aaron up to speed on what happened when he went over there. And he's saying that, you know, Aaron is asking him like, well, what happened? You know, what did she say? He's like, I don't know. I just left and all of that. And he was like, I just love her, you know, so I get crazy sometimes. And so Aaron was saying, no, that's not love. You know what I'm saying? That's not love at all. That's not what love looks at. He was like, you got some serious issues and you got to, you know what I'm saying, work them out or whatever the case may be. He was like, you know, you're obsessed. And I was so glad that he said that to him because he is, even though I don't think it's going to make a very big difference or change anything in Gary. And so Gary even has said at one point like, oh, well, the counseling is not helping. And, you know, Aaron basically was telling him the counseling is not working or helping because you're not doing the work that you have to put in to make that happen. You know, it's like if he wants this quick fix or he just wants the persona or to be able to say that he's getting help, but he's really not trying to get the help, you know? And so he's telling him how she just makes him mad. He don't know, you know, he just gets crazy. He was like, well, I just left. And so Aaron is like, you just left. And he was like, and what did she say? He's like, I don't know. So then he starts thinking and he was like, oh, she probably, and he looked like he wanted to go look and find some damn binoculars in the drawer to see if he could see over there, but I guess the binoculars is not good enough, and he mad that the damn telescope is gone. And so that's when Aaron was like, listen, you have to stop this. This ain't love. He was like, this is starting to get crazy now and it's not healthy at all. And he was like, you can't love her and act like this. And so Gary is saying he know. And Aaron is like, so you need to stop doing it then. You know what I'm saying? And he basically was like, okay, you know, as if it's that simple when he gonna just stop all of a sudden then, but we know he not. And so he says, what should he do? Or what, you know, what does he do now? And Aaron basically was like, well, you know, I don't know, man. He was like, have you ever thought about, you know, maybe you going out and trying to meet somebody different or whatever? Child, when he said that, Gary gonna talk about didn't your wife shoot herself? What the hell did that have anything to do with anything? That was even low for him, you know. Aaron basically was like, wow. And then Gary was like, man, I'm sorry. He was like, no, you said it, you meant it. He was like, no, my bad. And Gary, you know, Aaron was like, what the hell was that? And Gary talking about something. I clearly hurt people. I hurt the people that I love the most. He was like, I messed up, man. I really didn't mean that. He was like, you know, that's when he started telling him about the counseling wasn't helping and all of that. And Aaron was like, because you ain't doing nothing. And he talking about something, I'm trying. And he was like, well, try harder. So, of course, he kept trying to give Aaron fake apologies at this point, but Aaron really didn't want to hear it. He was like, nah, man, I'm going to go ahead and go. I don't feel like being here right now. I don't feel like dealing with this. I got my own things that I'm dealing with. He was like, maybe you need to, you know, look into some other stuff if you're just going to sit here and insult me. And, of course, Gary still kept apologizing to him and was like, come on, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry I was wrong. Like, can you please stay? But Aaron was over it. You know, he was like, nah, I'm good. You know, Gary talking about something, just please sit and talk with me and stay with me, man. And Gary, you know, Aaron, like I said, at this point, didn't want to be bothered no more. And I can't blame him. So he go ahead and he walk out. And he leave Gary Dusty behind there in the office. So, moving on from that, I believe that is when, you know, he sit down to have a drink. So I believe that's when Sabrina and Bayo joined them. And Bayo was telling, you know, Danni that he heard about her. And she was like, oh, don't listen to her. And she was like, no, she was saying good stuff. And she's like, you know, I got to spill the beans and all this other kind of stuff. And, you know, so when, you know, Danni's man or no, her little date is looking at Bayo, he keeps saying he looked familiar. And he's like, no, I don't think we met anywhere before, you know, before. So I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why do he know Bayo? Like, did he see some type of bulletin about him? I'm thinking maybe, you know what I'm saying, Bayo over here trafficking girls. Like, what is happening, right? Because he sees him and he's like, look, making these faces like, you sure I don't know you? Then he looks down at his phone and he's like, I gotta go. First he said he had got a call, and then he's like, okay, I didn't have no phone ring. It was like the whole aura changed, whereas him and Danni seemed like they was robbing by themselves. Once Sabrina and him both got there, you know, he just was in a rush to leave and his face was looking all funny. So he was like, no, it wasn't a call, it was a text. And he was like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and head out. And so once he said he was leaving, Danni basically was like, well, I'm not going to stay here and be a third wheel. Y'all go ahead and enjoy yourselves. I'm going to leave too. And Bayo was basically saying that his driver could drive her home, but she was like, nah, I'm good. And she was like, oh, driver, you know, that's what's up. But she was like, no, I'm going to go ahead and leave. And so Bayo was going on and on about how beautiful she was, right? He said it probably 2-3 times or whatever. She had said thank you. He had told her directly before she left that she was a lovely lady. And she was like, thank you, appreciate that. And then he was like, where do you work? And she was saying that she worked at the airport and she have to be there early in the morning. So she was like, I'm going to go ahead and hit it. And so Sabrina was like, okay, call me. So when she get up and leave, he's still saying to Sabrina like 3 more times how beautiful Danni is. And then he's like, I want to meet all your friends. So at first, you know, Sabrina's like, oh, I would like to meet, you know, your friends too, or whatever the case may be. And he was like, yeah, soon. And he was like, you know, you have beautiful friends. And she was like, yeah, I think so, inside and out. But then it started getting awkward after he was saying he would like to meet all of them, when he still was going on like, oh God, you know, I can't believe how gorgeous she is. She's so beautiful. And so Sabrina at this point is like, you know, well, damn, do you want me to go get her for you? And so he gonna talking about, would you? And of course that just changed Sabrina's whole mood. That would have changed my mood too, because she was like, do you want me to go and get her back? You know, and he talking about some, can you? And so she was like, yeah, I could do that, and I could leave you behind here too. I could go. And he talking about, I didn't mean it like that. And she was like, so which way did you mean it then? And he basically was like, I'm sorry. And so he was like, listen, you have my full attention. And they start looking at the menu, and he talking about how some type of vegetarian dish had looked good to him, or whatever the case may be. I think it was a vegetarian shrimp. He was like, it looked really good. And Sabrina's face was just like this the whole time he was talking. That would have been me, child. That would have been me too. So I don't know, but I've been saying since the beginning, unless they show me something different, I'm not trusting Bayo at all. I don't know which way he coming with it. But then we see Fatima in the bath, or whatever the case may be. Zach come up there and check on her for a minute to make sure she okay. You know what I'm saying? He brings some wine up there. She was trying to ask him if he wanted to get in the bath with her. And he was like, nah, not right now. And she was like, you still don't want to talk? She was like, too soon? And he was like, yeah, too soon. And he was telling her to go ahead and relax, you know what I'm saying, chill out, sip on some wine, or whatever the case may be. And that he was gonna step out for a minute. She like, you gonna just leave me like that? And he was like, yeah, if I don't, then I would end up getting in there with you. And he was like, you be putting the water too hot. And so the next thing you know, Danni is home, and she's getting a call from Mr. Copman. And she's like, man, I don't like the way you did that, or whatever. I'm not feeling it at all. I don't want to be bothered. I'm home now. I'm trying to get ready for bed so I could get ready for work tomorrow. She's like, you just switched up and ran out of there and left me. And he was like, I know. He was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, but I really need to speak to you. This is important. And so, of course, she trying to get him to tell her what it is over the phone. But he's saying that he needs to go ahead and speak to her in person, or whatever the case may be. And she's like, first just not wanting to be bothered, whatever. But of course, he got to keep saying it and saying that it's important, that he really needs to talk to her. So she was like, all right, then come on. And he was like, well, I'm standing outside your door. So he already was freaking there. She's saying that she don't like this. And so she go and she opened the door to basically let him in. And she's like, what is this all about, or whatever? And he was like, this is really something serious. I got some questions that I need to ask you. He was like, I really can't tell you nothing, but I need to speak to you. And I don't like when people do that, okay? Like, don't bring up stuff to me if you can't tell me the whole daggone story. And so he come in, and he's basically, apologizing to her about, the dinner situation, and saying he's sorry about that. At the same time, he's saying he really can't tell her much. He wished that he could. He's asking her if that was Sabrina, whatever the case may be. And he's asking her if she works at the bank. And then she's like, yeah, like looking even more confused now. At one point he was ready to sit down and get comfortable, but she made sure that she stood up with her arms folded so that he wouldn't even think about sitting down. And he was like, I know you don't know me and you don't trust me. She was like, well, what is all this about? And he kept saying he can't tell her right now. She was like, you're not making any sense. You can't tell me right now, but you want to come here and to talk to me about what? And so he was like, if he could, he would. And he was like, he has some questions about her friend. And she was like, all right, what the hell is it? Like, get to it then. And that's when she did finally sit down. And so basically, like I said, he asked, is she Sabrina? I think her last name was Hollins. And she's like, yeah. She was like, she worked at Brookhaven Bank. She's like, yes. Okay, what is this? He was like, I thought so. And so now I'm confused because, like I said, I thought he more so was going to say that he's seen something happening with Bayo, but now you talking about Sabrina. So he was like, again, saying he wish he could tell her. And he was like, wasn't her bank, robbed recently? So obviously this has something to do with Q and the robbery, all right? And he was like, things is not looking good for her, whatever the case may be. And he was like, just tell me, what kind of person is she? And he was like, what do you mean? He was like, will she do illegal things? He was like, no. Danni telling him, no, she's a smart, hard-working girl like me. She's such a square, she wouldn't do anything that's illegal or bad. So he was like, okay, well, that's real good to know. And she basically was like, so now you sitting here asking me all these questions, but I can't ask you nothing. And, she was like, I don't like this. And he was like, I know you don't. So, that's when he had brung up, like I said, about the robbery from a couple weeks ago. And she's like, yeah. So, of course, she's not liking this even more. And I can't blame her. I wouldn't like that either. You're coming in here asking me mad questions about my friend, but you can't give me none of the info of why you're asking. And then all he says is she needs to be careful, and she's like, how? And he's like, that's all I could say. So at this point she like, okay, then I need you to get the hell up out of my house because you're saying a bunch of nothing. And I can't blame her. She was like, you need to leave. And he was like, Danni, I'm sorry. And she was like, yeah, you already said that. And she just pretty much was like, good night, goodbye, get out of here, go. And so he also left by saying to her, well, tell Sabrina she needs a lawyer. And then Danny's like, for what, Logan? He was like, just tell her she needs a lawyer, okay, to get a lawyer as soon as she can. And she was like, come on, you can't just come and lay something like that on me and then want to leave. And she was like, okay, goodbye, 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 whatever. So I guess she gonna give, Sabrina the heads up on this. And I don't know how this is going to work out, because now if they looking into Sabrina, I'm pretty sure they probably still look into Maurice as well. And he's sitting here with damn Q still in his damn house. So what that's going to mean for them, I have no damn idea at all, right? I don't know how they going to make that fall back on Sabrina now. But I'm still curious as to where he thought he knew, Bayo from as well. So, child, we get to the daggone part where, of course, Andy calls Karen, right? She want to vent to her about Gary, and as soon as they get on the phone, Karen is already knowing that she wants to vent on about Gary. She like, what did Gary do now? And Andy's like, really? And she was like, that's basically what you're calling me about, right? And so Andy is asking her where she at, and she keep being like, well, why you want to know? Why you want to know? I'm just driving around. I'm leaving from work now. I'm on my way home. And Andy's like, you don't sound like you driving. And then Karen is coming back with an attitude like, what do you want? Just say what you want. What did you want to talk about? You called me to talk, right? And so she was like, don't tell me you sitting in front of Zach's house. And she's basically just like doesn't answer it and was just saying, okay, well, what happened exactly? And so Andy's telling her like, I don't know. She was like, he came in and then all of a sudden freaked out. He basically walked out and just left. And so Karen is like, okay. And then she was like, and what else or whatever, and she was like, I don't know, it's just something weird about it. She was like, it's not making no sense. He looked at me. And then she stopped, and she was like, looked at you like what? And then she was like, oh shoot. And she was like, what? And she was like, well, he looked at me, the same way that he did the time when he basically thought that I forget the other guy she was messing with, but she was like, I have a feeling that he knows that Robin was here. And she was like, well, that's because he's been watching you. So Andy was telling her she had got the place swept, and she was like, well, that stripper probably didn't know what he was doing. Of course, they got to go ahead and try to diss him and say that he didn't do the job right. Excuse me. So, she was like, Mia, maybe you right or whatever. Then I'm, maybe I got to look into hiring another company. And so, Karen is just like, yeah, maybe you should do that. She dry, she got this attitude, and she is sitting her behind outside Zach's house. And we are all saying, for what? For what, girl? So anyway, she was saying that he had gave her the same look with Paris. And she asked her, are you scared? And she was like, scared of what? She was like, of him. She was like, no, I'm not scared of Gary, no. And she was like, all right then, so why you sounding worried? She was like, I'm not worried, I'm just saying. She was like, look, if you are worried or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and then call Robin, because he's acting like a whole ass or whatever the case may be. And she was like, I don't even know why I called you, because obviously Karen is not caring about nobody but herself right now, right? And so when she says that, Karen gonna talk about, yeah, I don't know why you called me either. Why didn't you just call Danni? She could tell you what you want to hear. So Andy was saying, okay, that's not fair. And she was like, well, I know you've been speaking to her recently. Okay, and is there a law that I can't speak to her, So Andy was like, and does that make you jealous? And she was like, no, but I gotta go though. And I was like, Karen, I don't know, but you coming off like you are jealous. You coming off like you don't like freaking Danni, and you want to be a know-it-all to everybody else's situation, but then be so freaking like you ain't got no sense, the sense that God gave a damn roach when it comes to your own situation. And I know that's how a lot of us are. We got on like rose-colored, glasses to a certain degree with our own situations, but we could see other people's more clearly. But this stuff is beyond, y'all. So, she's basically telling her how she gotta go. So then, Andy was basically like, she's telling her she's tired and she want to spend some quiet time and all this mess. So at first, Andy's like, okay, fine. And then, Karen says sorry. And then Andy says sorry and says that she's going to let her go. But then she's like, Karen, hold on, because her other line rings again. And it's Gary. And he basically apologized and asking, can he come up? So, she like, all right. And she clicks back over to Karen and she's like, sorry, Karen, or whatever. But she's like, Karen, hold on, before you hang up, are you at damn Zach's house? Bye Andy. She was like, are you really sitting in front of Zach's house? She was like, what if I am? She was like, Karen. She was like, well, we need to talk about this baby. Bye Andy, right? So she hang up the phone on damn Andy. And she get out the car and she going and knocking on damn Zach's door, right? And then Andy is sitting there and she like, what the hell? So, Gary bring his behind upstairs or whatever the case may be. He trying to fix his damn suit and walk over and, act like he being Mr. Calm Man or whatever with his psycho behind, right? Transforming into one of his alter egos or whatever. And he come over talking about some hey, and he sits down. And so Andy basically was like, what's going on or whatever the case may be, right? She just looking at him. And then, excuse me, y'all. She was like, what's going on? So he basically was like, look, all stumbling with his words and stuff. He was like, I'm sorry for earlier. And she was like, Gary, look, I know that look. And he was like, what look? She was like, the look you gave me earlier, the look you gave me when you left. She was like, that's the same look that you gave me before when you thought I was sleeping with Paris. So he was like, but you was sleeping with Paris. Okay, but that wasn't the point. You know what the hell she was talking about. And so she was like, so am I right? And then he was like, yeah. And so she was like, okay. And she basically was like, all right, well, I'm going to ask you this one time. She was like, do you have cameras in this house? Have you been watching me? And so he talking about cameras. He was like, no, what the hell? What do you think of me? She was like, listen, don't act like you're not the type of person that would do that. All right. He talking about who do you think I am? She was like, I know that you are a jealous man. And so he was like, okay, but no, I don't have any cameras in here. She was like, okay. So she was like, then tell me the truth or whatever. Do you know that Robin was here? And so he was stumbling again. And she was like, you did. You saw him or whatever. She was like, you do know that he was here. She was like, how did you know? Was it Hayden? And then he was like, no. And she was like, we gonna talk about Hayden too. I was so glad she said that. And he was like, okay, well, what do you want to know about Hayden? She was like, no, forget about Hayden for a minute. I want to know how you knew Robin was here. So he was like, look, I don't want to get into that right now. She was like, no, we said we was going to be honest with each other. So tell me. And the honey child, I actually was shocked. Okay, because she was like, how do you know? And he did tell her. He was like, you really want to know the truth? And she was like, yeah. He was like, well, I've been watching you from my office. Now, of course, she's like, huh? And she's basically getting up looking because he's telling her his office is the third building to the left, right, whatever it was. He was like, he could see her from his office building. So she was like, no, that's impossible. How would you be able to see me from over there? The only way that you would be able to do that. And before she could get the rest of her words out her mouth, she was saying this bullshit or whatever. He basically was like, with a telescope. So she was like, you had a damn telescope? Are you freaking kidding me? She basically like, so you were spying on me. He talking about, okay, look, I just like to look up here. I said, boy, stop it. Talking about he enjoyed, so she was like, I hope you enjoyed the view. He was like, of what? She was like, of me effing another man in my damn apartment. Get your ass up out of here. I said, I know that's right, Andy. You better let him know, honey child. So basically, that tickled me. I was here for it, all right? So she said, you could go ahead and get your behind up out of here, right? You played yourself. And so, of course he want to be with the fake I'm sorry's, apologizing or whatever and telling her to wait a minute, give him a chance to talk and explain. And she was like, no, I don't want to hear nothing. And he was basically saying how, he bought her this place, and she was like, I knew it. She was like, so that's why you bought me the damn place. You bought it for me so that you could be able to hold it over my head, and because you thought that I was gonna be here letting you in. And it's like, yes, Andy, finally you waking up. You know, of course she talking about how stupid could she be. How could she have thought that he actually would have gave it to her with no strings attached? She's like, this is making so much sense. This makes so much more sense than anything else, or whatever the case may be. And she had kept telling him to get out the place, but of course he just still kept trying to talk. And at this point I'm yelling, Andy, girl, go. Like, don't even continue to talk to him, because he just gonna keep feeding you the bull crap. You know, he talking about some, I didn't want to do it like that, and I wanted you to have the place. She was like, yeah, but you was contingent on you being here. So he was like, yeah, I want to be here. He was like, I'm not gonna lie about that. He was like, what's wrong with that? And so she basically was like, you know, I'm so stupid. And she was like, there's really something wrong with you. And he was like, yeah, I do have, you know what I'm saying, some things wrong with me. And she was like, you the same person you always were. And she was like, yeah, you need some damn medication. And he was basically trying to be like, I need something, as if that was going to make her feel sorry for him or whatever. So then she just was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to leave, you know, and don't Andy me or whatever, and don't follow me. And she went to go to the daggone elevator and trying to hurry up and press the buttons, and was saying she was going to go back to her apartment, and that she also was going to call up, you know, the people about the apartment and tell them to pull the whole thing. So she left his behind standing there, and I was so happy for that. So, child, we move on along, and we get to freaking Karen. Like I said, she got out that damn car. She started knocking at the door. So, of course, Zach is opening it, and he's like, you got to be kidding me. I know he had to be feeling like, I just got out of jail. I got this lady calling me, you know what I'm saying, about this damn situation where I got to figure out a way to go see her. Now I got damn crazy ass Karen knocking at my door. So, of course, he's like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, oh, God, what? You got to be kidding me. And she's like, well, Zach, you haven't been returning my calls. We have to talk. So he's like, Karen, she was like, I need to talk to you. He's like, okay, Karen, can we talk tomorrow? Please. You know, no, we need to talk now. We need to talk right now. So he's like, about what? We need to talk. We got to talk. Can I come in? He's like, no, you can't come in. He steps outside to talk to her. He was like, we could talk out here. So she was like, excuse me, you lived in my house for 3 years, but I can't step into your new house? No. What do you want to talk about? You keep saying you got to talk, but you ain't said a damn thing you need to talk about yet. Zach ain't say that, but I'm saying that. You know, she talking about something. Is she inside? He said, yes, the woman that I love, you know she's inside. That's my woman. So here go Karen. I need to talk. Okay, still saying that. He was like, can we talk tomorrow? No, we can't. We have to talk now. You know, she's really living with you? She's really living with you, Zach? So he said, yeah, she is. In this house? That the woman that you just met is in this house? And he says, yes. She was like, I can't believe you and you won't let me see the house? No, don't you got a man? And she gonna say, I have you. No, you don't, Karen. You don't have him. That is the damn problem. You don't have him. And at this point, you ain't got your damn scruples in your brains. You are so ticking me off. I swear to y'all, I've been trying to have patience with Karen. But Karen needs some serious help, okay? Aaron needs to go ahead and get her a different damn counselor or something for her behind, okay? Child. So, basically, Zach is trying to tell her, Karen, listen, don't do that. Don't act like that. This is not how it's going to go. He said, Karen, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, we fight. You leave. You do some stupid ass shit. And then you come back because you know I want you. And he's telling her, stop. She's like, I miss you, Zach. He's like, please, can you please stop? She's like, no, you stop. You stop. Don't say that. He's like, look, I do not want you. She's like, Zach, you're making this difficult. You know what I'm saying? Why are you putting me through all of this stuff? And he's like, no, it's done. You put me out. You're the one that broke up with me. She's saying she no. He says, so it's over. She's saying it's not over. He's saying, look at me. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. I'm in love with Fatima. She talking about you not in love with her. He was like, how you gonna tell me who I'm in love with? She's like, because I know you. And I know when you playing games and you need to stop playing these games. So, she's saying stop. He's saying stop. He said, this is sad. She was like, what's sad, Zach? What's sad? He said, you sad. She was like, he told her, you being like this. This is not you. Why are you stooping down to this level right now? He was like, you're Miss Independent, right? You're Miss, you know what I'm saying? Remember that? Go get your broke ass out of here, Zach. She's like, I remember that. He was like, well, then you need to keep that same energy. She talking about something, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. It does, Karen. You made your choice. You made your choice and you made your decision, and that was the decision that you felt was right at that time, because at that time, Zach was playing games. At that time, y'all was, you know what I'm saying, messed up and falling apart. And y'all both did y'all share of things together. And it is what it is, honey. You can't go back in time and change it now. And you can't make somebody want to be with you now just because you're pregnant. It does not work that way. That's just not how it works in the real world, honey. I'm just so freaking confused. Every time she takes two steps forward, she go 3 steps back. And she's talking about some, he was like, I'm sorry, but I love Fatima. How many times he gotta say this? Like, does he need to say it in another freaking language? She wanna tell him she love him. You could love him, he could love you, but y'all not in love with each other. And she's saying, I'm in love with you, Zach. I'm in love with you. And he was like, I heard you, but you gotta stop. And she's like, what? And I don't even think Karen is in love with him. I think she's used to that cycle of them breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, because you do become accustomed of that when it's happening for so long. It becomes a regular routine. And so if it's not happening, you like, what the heck is going on? It was happening any other time. I think she's just scared of change and, something new and all of that kind of stuff. But honestly, I don't think she's in love with Zach. Does she love him? Yes, she will always love him. And she will always, now, especially with her being pregnant, if this really is his child, she's going to share a piece of him for the rest of her life, and he will always be a chapter that was a part of her life. But she's not in no damn love with him, and she's telling him, shut up. She's like, is this over? Tell me it's over. She's like, shut up, let me talk. It's like 1 minute you asking him a question, but then you telling him to shut up. And she's like, is this over? And he's like, yes, it's over. And she was like, this is over. That's what you're telling me. She was like, so you're telling me that basically she's going to be a part of this child's life, and that even though I'm standing here pregnant, it's over. And he's like, yes, I'm sorry. That is exactly what I'm saying to you. And she was like, but I'm carrying your child, Zach. And he was like, and we're going to deal with that. She was like, deal with that. And he was like, yeah. I mean, this is all stuff he said before, y'all, several different times, several different ways. Nothing new. And she was like, well, then let's deal with it now. He was like, well, we talking now. She was like, no, I want to talk now, and I want us to deal with this baby right now. I'm not going to do this alone. And he was like, and you don't have to, and I'm not asking you to. I'm not. Nobody is saying that. And she was like, well, if she's going to be in the baby's life, then we need to go ahead and go inside and talk to her too. Is she going to be in the life? Tell me yes or no. And then he's like, yes. And she was like, so then we're going to go in the house. He was like, no, you're not going inside. And he basically grabbed her arm and pulled her back. And he was like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going inside, Karen. That's not the time for this. You know what I'm saying? And he just kept saying that he was sorry or whatever. And so they going back and forth. And she was like, you're going to tell me you don't love me? And he's, back to that again. And he's like, no, I don't love you. I've already told you that I do not love you. She was like, why are you doing this? And he was like, doing what? You got to stop. She was like, I'm not stopping nothing. I'm not doing nothing. She was like, I'm not the one that's playing games. And he was like, yes, you are. And he was like, stop, stop, stop. She was like, what am I stopping? She was like, what is there for me to stop or whatever? And so here comes Fatima, baby. She said, listen, yeah, we gonna stop right now. I'm coming down. Hold on. I said, I know that's right, bitch. Get on down here, Fatima. That's exactly what needs to happen, because Zach done told her every which way he knew how to tell her that he don't love her. He don't want her no more. So now it's time for her and Fatima to have a real grown woman to grown woman conversation. It's time for Karen to put her big panties on, okay, grown woman panties on, and act like a damn woman and stop with the freaking foolishness already, okay? I'm tired of it, y'all. But y'all put it in the comments. Let me know what y'all thought about this daggone episode, honey. What y'all think is really going on with Bayo? Where y'all think that the officer recognized him from? What y'all think gonna happen with Sabrina? Okay, what is going on with her and what her name is mixed in with this damn bank robbery? Is she gonna have to end up taking damn Maurice and Q behind this? Like, and what y'all think Fatima gonna be saying to Miss Karen? Okay, put it all in the comments. Let's discuss. Okay, like, comment, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. Till next time.